So, a fair bit of stuff has happened since I last streamed. At least in America, anyways. But I'll let that be for now. Today I'm gonna just try and focus on painting and doing some other simple things. Dang it. I always forget something, don't I? Give me a sec. I had to make room on the table for a sketch, so I had to put the paint aside. Didn't have a place to put it, so I put it in the bag. Alright. Alright, so bear with me as I rummage through it. Alright, yeah, so today we're doing this Sailor Moon one, and I am not overly sure how to start. I'm gonna do the background, so I haven't decided on what that would be. So thinking that weird transformation bit. I think you're really good. Oh, you're so good. You're the you might work. So brown black. Where's the rest of it? Half black, white. There you are. Look at you. Because you might pop in and play. Sorry about that. Probably gonna pull out more bits and stuff as we go. But yeah, well, the transformation sequence stuff has all this like weird, spacey, psychedelic type of stuff. Figure I could try and incorporate that in here. Maybe actually use the ultramarine violet I've got. It's a purple that I got that looks pretty dark, but it's actually really light. So it wasn't quite what I was needing originally, but it might work out here. Alright, so that's that. Start. It's purple. I've got some references here, not a lot. Alright, so looks to just be kind of generic background colors of the blues and purples. Is what I've been able to pick up from it, but there's a lot of different types and a lot of fan art stuff that goes all over the place. Here we go, that might be a decent one. Oh, the little stripes. Make it work. Let's be a bit more. No, you're too dark. Probably too much. Oh, that's right here just for a sec. Okay, so let's go with blue. Let's go with the blue. Get it set up. Yep. Let's try you. You're actually pretty close to what I need, actually. Just put in a little bit of darker blue to it, and that should attempt to even it out some. instead of going full black. Alright, let's give that a shot. Let's give that a shot. Do paintbrush. Alright. So, this is going to be a pretty, relatively uneventful start to the painting, but, Alright, so, let's spread you out. You know what? Let's just use you up, put you as the base layer, and then add to it. I think that might work out. Smidge darker though, so I need a U in there. Alright. So here we go. It's been interesting trying to work on a character I know of, but don't really know of. About, I guess is the way to put it. Because most of the other characters, most of the other artwork I've had, has always been like some sort of personal meaning or connection to them. This one, I do not. And it's fascinating learning about a new person, new character. At least what little I was able to scavenge before I started. Alright, so we've got just... There's also... You know, I'll go with that. Okay. So this is going to be a pretty simple little painting to begin with. I still don't know if I should have her just kind of like floating there in space in that pose, or put in a floor, because her transformation things seem to be in like the nether, just kind of sitting there floating. So I'm not sure if it would be considered lazy just to leave it in like that, or if I should put something in there. But if I were to put something in there, what should that be? Because what's sitting out there floating in nothingness? Alright. But yeah, it's I get to work a bit more on some of the abstract backgrounds. I've noticed it's one of the things I'm not oop. There we go. Notice it's one of the things I'm not the best at. Probably because I haven't paid much attention to them. And I do find that a lot of your skill in a subject, especially art, is dependent on how familiar you are with the subject. Because as it is, I am unfamiliar with Sailor Moon, unfamiliar with the backgrounds, how things go, because I've never paid all that much attention to them. However, the human body, that is one I've paid a good deal of attention to, so I can see that going a little bit better. Alright. I could probably use a bigger brush to do this, but I don't think I'd be able to get more paint on it. I don't have any. And there we go. I have used up the paint blob I had set up. Alright, so a bit more paint is in order. Yeah, so I'm gonna try and go with the weird, like, spacey. It's got like a basic blue shade to it, with streaks of turquoise and purple and stars and such in the background. I think that'll work out as a option. One of the things I did though in some of the artworks is she has a object behind her, and some of it it's a moon, other ones it's a heart. I don't know what the difference is. I think it might be different seasons or something like that. I don't know, but I was thinking maybe putting like the moon here. The heart looks like it might be a better fit in the screen, but I don't know. I can't seem to find a heart in the old style transformation sequences. But it is what it is. Eh. Alright. Give it a sec. So I'm gonna try and maybe play with it a bit, and again work on the experimentation of it. I think I'm gonna work with the moon because I think the moon could get, because it's a very crescent shape, I might be able to get a interesting contrast. But since I'm working with the dark blue of the sky, I think the heart might have a better color contrast. I don't know, fill in some of the area a bit better. I don't know. Been focused on getting just her down. Alright. And just there. Apparently one of the other things I meant to do before I started here, but I don't know where a spray bottle is. Apparently on some of the artworks you can spray them in the back, and that'll tighten up some of the canvases. I don't know why they don't do it before or something. Apparently it helps straighten it out, stretch it together or something. Because right now I can press into the canvas and it'll give. I thought that was normal. I thought that was part of what makes a canvas a canvas. Total painting noob here, so we'll see. Right, apparently you can do it afterwards, but sometimes that cracks the paint or shifts the picture around a bit. So maybe I'll try and do it for the next one. Get a water bottle while I'm in town. Give it a shot. Try it out. Speaking of, that should be my next project. Maybe I shouldn't focus on that right now. Well, maybe I should. And some. Well, what day is it? 20th? I think I got time. Yeah, I've got like almost a whole nother week coming up. So I do have well, maybe that'll be it. The I'll try and start work on the Halloween project, because I want to try and like take part in another Halloween fan art contest. It's one I did before. I was doing a 3D model of one of the characters as a vampire. And it was actually pretty fun, but I think I spent also a hell of a lot of time on there, mostly because it was 3D and I was kind of just putzing and teaching myself. I think I can hammer one out pretty quickly. Painting's been taking about a week or two, so it's not so bad. But I don't know, what should I do? Because it can be just about anything. character-wise. It just has to be related to Halloween and their series somehow. And some people have been pretty creative with it. As it is Halloween, it's all sorts of interesting takes on characters, or like interesting Halloween scenes. Of course, you also do have since it's fan art, the simple fan art that people come up with. It's like completely, totally unrelated, but I just drew this. I thought it was cool, man. I'd rather not do that. I personally would rather try and keep it thematic. But we'll see where it gets to. Now, I personally like to shy away from the heavily spooky and horrifying, and more the fun and good-natured bit of Halloween, or the supernatural type stuff. Maybe I'll try that. A fun little, maybe multiple characters. I could try that. Maybe yeah. Maybe that's what I'll try. A couple of characters in the scene. Maybe I could work with the sisters. That might work. That might work. Alright, but what would they be doing? What would they be doing? Sorry. One of the other things is painting is very strange, and since you can have multiple layers, I could, for instance, just paint the whole thing blue, just get an even coat on it. But then I'm covering up the sketch that I worked pretty hard to get down in place. And as such, I'd rather not go that route. But I also need to get it pretty close to the arms, otherwise, or the body. Otherwise, it'll leave a little white gap all the way around, which is actually kind of annoying to fix. So get it close as you can, especially on some of these, like the hands down here. I didn't put any great amount of effort into them. I just kind of placeholder setups at the moment. So I can cover those up without too much fear, because they're not quite exact in the first place. But things for like this skirt here, the chest, things like that, those are parts that are a bit harder to just cover up, because or especially like the knees over here, they've got a specific shape that took me a while to get. But yeah, so there we are, and I end up using just like some of the reasons I like using the smaller brushes as opposed to the big brushes is right here I've got to very carefully use only a little portion of it, because otherwise it'll turn out wrong. It'll cover up things I don't want covered up. But you still can do it with a bigger brush, it just takes a bit more fine controls. Alright. And when you're not really paying too much attention, there's not as much detail required, say for instance this background here, it's pretty easy to just kind of just flow and just get it down real quick. I'm getting pretty good at the painting aspect of it, getting a bit more familiar with it. Still things here or there that I could work on. And I'm almost out of paint again. It happens. But this will be just the first initial layer of blue. I want this pretty uniform-ish around, because that's what the other colors are going to be based around. One of the other aspects is you might be able to see it, might not, especially like over here. It's a bit faded. It's a bit lighter because the paint is thinner. I didn't get a good even stroke there, especially down here. Focus in a little, focus in a little. One of the other odd things about trying this stuff is the paint runs out. I run out of paint to use. As such, it does tend to, especially with this technique, tend to run out along the edges of the character, so I end up with a bit of a ring highlight all the way around. Because I'm not being as forceful as I am on the other spots. It tends to be a bit lighter and a bit harder to get them. Yeah. Again, it really is amazing just how much and how little paint I use for things. Because for all the detail work, I tend to have a lot of excess paint. But as soon as I start working on backgrounds, that's when, oh, what the hell am I doing? That needs to be up close. The background tends to just run out. It just has to be refilled a couple of times. While when I'm painting all the normal details and whatnot, I just have the same bit for the whole run. I'm gonna try and keep my brush clean. I know you're supposed to take care of brushes and stuff, and this is the best way I know how. It ain't perfect, I know that for dang sure, but it's what I got. Hello, welcome. Sorry, I didn't notice you. I'm just sitting here mumbling. Now, how are we? We're all right. We're starting on the painting. So, somewhat exciting stuff. Any suggestions? I am open to some. But yeah, I'm doing the Sailor Moon one. Not really a request that you wanted, but you at least give me an idea to work with something else. Oh yeah, and this is the stupid idea I was talking about. She's doing her pose upside down and with her feet. It was a stupid, silly idea, and I just couldn't get it out of my head, so here we are. Give me a sec. Good enough, I guess. Right. Yeah, here, still wet, so it's gonna be a bit odd, but yeah, it's like that pose right there on the right. I tried to mimic with her upside down. That's pretty much the gist of it. Not too far along at the moment, but well, it's because I just started today, so it would make sense for that to happen. You know what? I think I'm going to switch over to my other brush now for a moment and try and fill in these bits here, as well as some of the outer lines over there. Probably going to need more paint than that. But yeah, it's been interesting. Learning new things, trying new stuff, going in different directions. Fascinating stuff, really. Yeah, there we are. Alright, so back to that color again. And where's my broom? There we are. One of the other things, I still don't quite know if that's normal or how it's supposed to work. But like on a brush, I try and get the paint just on the very tip of it like that. But sometimes the paint goes all the way down to this metal bit, which is apparently not supposed to. But maybe it is. I don't really know. I haven't looked up the proper way to paint. I just had some people tell me this or that through YouTube videos and the like. So I'm just winging it based off best of my abilities. But yeah, once I get this filled in, I'm gonna try and shift over to the purple smears. I don't quite know what they would be called. It's different up here. I'm gonna touch that up. There's a difference between varying colors and paint strokes. I don't like how paint strokes can be ugly, I guess is one way to put it. Yeah, I started painting today. Today is the first time I've started painting it. I spent last week coming up with a sketch, the idea, refining it, getting it down to something I was good with. Instant kick. And not necessarily handstand tick, though it probably could be. But it's that weird pose. I've got it right there. Whatever the hell it is. That thing there, but she's trying to do it with her feet instead. That was at least the thought of it. I wanted to try doing something that didn't exist at the time, drawing something. There we are. Instead of doing an exact replica of the picture over here, I wanted to try and reference it, and I guess make it my own or so, which I guess I have. I have not much experience with it, so I'm pretty happy with how this turns out. Well, I'm glad. I have the fans' approval, so I have the go-ahead. Alright. But yeah, it was fascinating, and it's not bad, but I did have a lot of struggles as I was going through it. Not a hell of a lot, but just noticeable ones, at least for me. Just trying to figure out how it would work, because it may have been a bit more than I could take at the time, but yeah, that's how you grow, doing a bit more than you think you can, and then learning how to do it. That would be how you improve. But yeah, one of the things was oddly enough, the shoes. Still not quite sure how well those look, mostly with perspective at the moment. The other one being how everything would be affected by gravity or something. Would they be that? Does their transformation thingy actually have gravity? Because she does a lot of floating. Hey man, welcome. Starting up the painting. We're starting the painting today and seeing where we get to. Alright, so a bit of a very close section in here. Time it's a bit more of a fine work here because I don't want to like draw on her face because that wouldn't be very nice. Alright. Yeah. And there we are. Go around the ear. Oh yeah, would you happen to know her metal band circlet thing? Does that go like underneath her hairline? On the top, because her hair is upside down and falling forward, and so it should be showing the hair in the other direction, but I don't know specifically how that looks. Maybe I can look it up later. And so I had to kind of guess. So I guess that's part of it. Taking my best guess on how things would look. My job as an artist not to find the exact thing and put it there, but fill in the gaps, so to speak. I don't know. Yeah, neither do I. It's because that is one of the things I ran into a lot of with oh yeah, she's got some more hair there, so I'll leave. I'll do a little bit here, but then leave it open because I don't know how far it goes. Okay. Because that was always one of my complaints when trying to do work, especially with fantastical things and clothing or people, is how does this work? How does this function? What's it look like at this point of view? And nobody ever drew it like that. Headband under forward. All right. Bangs go over her tiara. Yeah. Well, I've got her bangs going upside down because instead of being like this, she's upside down and the hair flops that way. This is what I've got. And so since the hair flops up, it unless her hairdo is static, if she's upside down, does it still stay like that? That'd be simpler to draw, but less realistic to gravity, I imagine. Does she? Well, the question is, does she spray her hair to stay in that shape, or it's just kind of naturally like that? And see, it's these weird questions that I've never been able to answer, like for instance, clothing on like when I was trying to do the cosplay work on like some characters, they'd have like an undershirt or something below the main garment, but you would never be able to see it. They only had that one model from the game, or they never took off their outer coat, and so you weren't ever able to get an accurate look at whatever it happened to be. And so that always drove me nuts, because like I want to know what it is they have. Well, in truth, they actually weren't ever thought that far ahead. It was just a design choice, and that was the extent of it. No actual work put in after that. So I'd have to make it up. But I was always bad at making it up. Just 90s enemy. Yeah, I figured as much. But yeah, it's like what and it becomes down to what rules can you bend and what rules can't you? Like for instance, she has the tiara or the circlet, whatever you want to call it, metal band on her head. I'd imagine that doesn't move around all that much, but since it's upside down, we could have it maybe sliding down off to the side or something like that. So, like that, would that be a rule that would be bent, or is that one that's more immovable? I chose to go with that part doesn't move. That part's gonna stay stationary, but her hair would move and stuff like that. Just you have to think about a lot of different things when you start doing this, and it's interesting. Or like, well, this does apply with a lot of other art stuff as well, because sometimes like there's like a character portrait in a game or something, and that's all they are. They're just like this portrait up to like upper chest and head or something, and you want to make that character's outfit or something, but it's never shown. They flat out do not have any more than that portrait. That's all they have, and so you have to make an educated guess as to what the rest of them looks like, or the back of them if they only have like the front shown, and then you have to figure out what the back of them looks like, because you've got them in a pose where they're doing some sword move or something. Oh really? I didn't know that. Cool. I thought it was kind of like I haven't been able to watch the series or do a lot of research, just quick poses and general information about what it looks like. If that's the case, I might be able to get a bit more information on what the tiara looks like and see how it goes around the head. I'll look into that. There's no chance of me getting to it today, so I can work on it later. All right. Give me a sec. Yeah, it's little details like that. There have also been I've seen videos of people trying to replicate stuff in a similar fashion and getting them as accurate as they can. Oh, I forgot to draw her ear here. Note to do that later. I painted over it, so I don't know where specifically it goes. So give me a sec. Yeah, one of the things I am trying to overcome personally is the fact that I have to get it perfect, I have to get it right, and close enough is good enough. Because that's always been the thing. But I want to make it perfect. I want to make it like the character is. And if I have to make it up, that's not what the character is. I had that flawed concept for the longest time. And it actually hurt me quite a bit. Not emotionally or anything like that, but just progress-wise. Come on, just get off the brush. And so I'm trying to overcome that shortcoming and work with it. And in doing so, I've become a lot better at art, simply through sheer numbers. Now that I don't have to focus on, I gotta get you it out. Now that I don't focus so much on the exactness of it, I can focus on the artistic endeavors, the creative processes of it. Give me a minute. And one of the other ones, for instance, since I don't have enough space on the canvas, and since she's upside down and using her hands, her iconic hair, the two ponytails, I think is what those would be. Pigtails, I guess. Those are real big pigtails, though. Kind of get in the way. So I have them falling down, and I'll have them pulled up, kind of like Tangled or Rapunzel or such. Just pulled up on the ground somewhere. I don't have a exact spot for it yet, but that's the plan. And since I can kind of fudge some of that, I'll leave it be for when I get there. Alright. in. And there we are. I think that's most of the outline. I got the knee over here. But yeah, it's just fascinating trying to come up with new things, and I'm having to work my imagination things to try and figure out how it would fit, how it would center. Like for instance, this knee, this leg configuration, I don't quite like it. Though there is no reference for this specific pose, but I did my best for trying to get it right. It still bugs me in a couple of spots, but again, good enough is good enough. And I'll get better. If I sit there focusing on getting it just right all the time, I won't be able to progress in anything else. So I'm trying to move on and see what I can do, and just get the work done. Alright, so alright. There we are. Oh, yeah, gotta do that. Alright. Alright. Oh, and some odd news. We have a new chick. Apparently, one of the other chickens, we've got like 20 chickens or something like that. Somewhere in that ballpark. We've lost some to predators over the months, but so I couldn't give you an exact number unless I sat there and did it. But one of them had been apparently sitting on a batch of eggs in the greenhouse, and one of them hatched. So we now have another little baby chick running around, and it's not the same mama hen that currently has 13 babies waddling around. No, they're not babies anymore. They've grown up. Me too. I'm curious how this will turn out. I think it'll be okay. Might not be my best work ever, but it's an honest attempt. And that's something I can be proud of. Alright, now I'm trying to fill in the spots where the paint was a bit too light. And after this, we'll try to introduce some more variants to it. The purple and green and whatnot splashes of color. Oh, yeah, I've got a lot of these spots, don't I? She's going to be out in space? Yeah, that's the idea. You do know that Sailor Moon is a thing, right? I'd imagine so. She's going to be in her transformation zone whenever she's doing the transformation or whatever. There's that weird ambiguous space in the background. That's what I'm working with here. Currently I'm doing the base layer because the space is not white. Space is kind of black and bluish. Oh, by the way, I did watch the Safety Not Guaranteed. That was a different show. A lot of awkward bits in there. I'm overly fond of the awkwardness in there, but it did humanize it a little bit. It's not bad. Not great, but not bad. So, thank you for the recommendation. It was kind of interesting. Not quite sure what to make of it yet. And he actually did have a time machine, which was unexpected, actually. I was expecting it to be just kind of a bunch of piecemeal random things or whatnot. Yeah, the 90s transformation sequence. I also I looked up a couple of videos to try and maybe get like a freeze frame or see a bit more how it works out. And apparently it's makeup is what she's using to transform or something. Because they go Sailor Moon makeup or something or other. Raise this little hand one with their symbol or something. And it's makeup. Which was weird. I didn't know that. I thought it was just like she automatically did it or something. Just say the phrase and it'll go. I didn't know there was an item associated with it. And I am out of paint. So with over here. You know what? I can keep some of those odds bits. The painted bits that didn't make it in. Or weren't exact. And I can get a little bit more. And cover that one up. That's a bad one. And cover them up with the other elements of space. But yeah, it's Aubrey Plaza. Yeah, she was actually pretty good in there. I think one of the biggest ones was her boss, whatever he is. I didn't like him, but he's not quite supposed to be a guy you're supposed to like. But it was just rating, I guess, for that aspect. Could also be because I watched it yesterday, and yesterday was off. It wasn't a bad day, but it was an off day for me. But yeah, maybe that had something to do with it, because your mood does affect a lot of things. Alright, so, actually, give me, right, I do know that, Japanese, henshin is actually the word for transform. I guess it's just another cool phrase to use for it. Like I said, I do not know about Sailor Moon, but I had to look up some of the stuff. Alright. Yeah, the closest word I can ever give is off for them. Maybe in a better mood it'll hit better. Maybe a second rewatch. I don't know. We'll find out or not. Alright. So it looks like I only got a couple of odd little references. They've got a bit of some darker coloring for the outline of some of the purple smears. And they're all in the same direction. So, yeah, yes, sir. Alright. Let's go that way. Let's go that way. Paint dried. Cool phrase because it's in English. Yeah, it's yeah, there's also that aspect having foreign words is foreign words are pretty cool, man. This is really dark. Almost black. This is supposed to be blue, not a black. Quite literally. Prussian blue. This blue right there. But it's always been way too dark for me to do anything with. Alright, so we'll try some stuff, see where we can go. So one thing, since it's the background, it's not all that important, we can play with it. If it doesn't work out, we can paint over it and redo a thing. Let's try gonna try and like water it down a little, give it some more space to it. Well, the other aspects is I'm using a larger panel than what the standard resolution was for back in those days. So I have more space to fill in. Sorts. But yeah, the foreign words and phrases that sound really cool. It's not just the Japanese, it's like everybody does that. But what really gets weird is when the translation teams like just butcher things. That's always an absolute tragedy, and like the 90s I think were particularly bad at that. Because I remember one in Pokemon. I remember this from when I was a kid. And it was just stupid. It's like, okay. You know those little rice balls? Those little triangular ones, like little, I think it's seaweed wrapped around them. Just a simple little rice ball. Well, they called them jelly donuts throughout the series. Oh man, this is such a good jelly donut. It's like, that's not a jelly donut. And even still, like when they took a bite out of it, it was rice. There was no jelly inside of it, and it was, even as a kid, I found that weird and bizarre that they were trying to here, I guess would be a nice one, to do something. And when they try and, I don't blame some of the translators, because it is difficult translating this concept. There's one that I remember being odd, but I didn't think too much about it at the time. This one needs to be longer. In Spirited Away, when and I remember seeing this in behind the scenes type stuff. Give me a sec, I'm running on like no paint here. It's when like she accidentally steps on an ash, those little ash soot balls. That's what it is, not ash, soot. And guys, click, put your thumbs and forefingers together, and you will be gone. Apparently, that was a little thing they did in Japan. Little kids would do that. They explained it as one of the closest examples would be like a cootie shot in America. Like you get the cooties, and then you get a cootie shot, and you no longer have the cooties, type thing. I never did that, but I knew of them. It was Street Fighter. That's horrifying in and of itself. Oh, really? What is it, if I may ask? In the meantime, jelly buns. Yeah. It's a Pokemon rice balls or jelly buns. Yeah, it's. I don't begrudge the translators for translating things that like don't exist. Like, for instance, that cootie shot thing. The little people will be gone. The amount of time it would take to explain that to a kid to get them to get the full point just doesn't work out. So they like, let's go with just do a thing and hope it works. That part I can legitimately understand. Studio Ghibli. No pressure, man. But yeah, Studio Ghibli is actually really good. One of my favorite ones, one of my absolute favorite movies from them is Princess Mononoke. That is by far one of the best made ones he's done. Second to that would probably be for me Arietta. I think that's the name. Don't quite like that one. Let's have. let's have this be the dark corner. Okay. I need more paint. I just need more paint right now. But yeah, so it's like when translating things that don't have an exact correspondence, like this word to that, this word means that word, this phrase means that phrase, and explaining cultural translations, that's an odd one. That's a hard one to do, and I don't begrudge them. But when they purposely change things that do have a correlation, or that are easily understood for no reason, and then cause all sorts of problems afterwards, that's when translators are in shit. Lily Cat. Oh yeah, I saw that one. You recommended it. It was like an Alien type thing, but an anime. Yeah. Was that a series, or I remember that being a movie? Yeah, that one was pretty well animated. And I find it kind of silly the big old American gunslinger guy was the first one to go down. It was quite silly. And he was the epitome of the stereotype. I'm not complaining, I was actually laughing at it. Honestly, I think most people, when you stop like thinking about things too hard, are able to laugh at stuff like that. No. The movie, yep. Alright, so I've seen that one then. I don't know why I keep wanting to try and just shove all these in the corner, or the sides. But yeah, well animation is actually really impressive. That's something I really do appreciate. Because I fell out of the Naruto scene right before Shippuden, I think. Yeah, like the last season of Naruto I paid attention to was the filler season. I was waiting for something to happen, but realized it's just all filler. That's when I fell out, and then they started up the new series, and it I never picked it up again. But I've heard there's absolutely ridiculous animation frames in that, like where people just look like blobs flailing around, as opposed to actual fight scenes. Yeah, I'm not personally overly fond of horror. It doesn't quite work for me, because many of the times horror has to, in order for horror to work, people have to be idiots. Most of the time. Alright, I probably put one behind her. That might be a decent. Right about. Let's fill it out a little. Give me a sec. Probably way too much, but we're experimenting. We're trying things out. This is probably like the worst possible direction I could have chosen for it, because it has to go through all of that. That's not bad. I think I can put. I don't know what it is, but I keep wanting to just put everything on the edge. Give me a sec. That's okay. Yeah, no, it's not that. Well, the thing that gets me is, like I said, in order for horror to work, people tend to have to be pretty stupid. If you could come up with an actual horror movie where people act rationally and logically and aren't stupid, I'm gonna go take on that monster by myself. Oh no, I died. Or, everybody, let's split up while this murderer's here. He can't get us all that way, right? Things of that nature. And like you actually have people in a group and things are working out and they try and logistically work through the problems and the monster or whatever still gets through, that would be a truly impressive horror thing. And I think The Thing was actually pretty close on that one. Everyone's trying to figure out what the hell's going on. Things are going problematic, but they still try and work their way through a lot of it. Alright, so that's random little patches. So I think in between them, I'll fit some of the green ones. Alright. Speaking of, well, I do have the purple. Let's work on the purple. Purple, violet, red. Sure, give me a sec. And yeah, horror isn't for everyone. That can be said of every category of genre. Alright, so you... break you up. Alright, so we've got... Sorry, the paint I left over here, it's an outer shell that dries. And then it has an inner gooey paint that you can use. Try and work with. Alright, so it's you, and let's go with just a bit of red. That's probably too much. Bear with me here. But yeah, if you can get a horror movie where and now it's brown. I didn't want brown. I wanted purple with a tinge of red. Yeah. Okay. I had this very bright purple, this very bright red, and made a dark brown. I don't get it. I've always had trouble with that specific red. Maybe it's reacting differently in there. Let's try the other one. Could I use you? Oh, you're a darker one, aren't you? Yeah, you're dark, but why does purple and red make brown? Dark brown tone. Maybe. Alright, so let's... Well, I could maybe try... No? Gotta figure out how these colors work. Because it's definitely a red tinge. It's closer to a pink, but it's got that purple violet hue into it. I don't have a violet. I have a dark purple, a light purple, a dark red, light red. And some configuration of those colors should equal what I need, right? Alright, so let's see what you look like. More dark brown. Okay. You are purple. Very dark purple. And see, tap of red. Not even close, not even close. Right, purple. Red. Nope, just so. How do you make that color? I don't know. I do not know. Oh, damn it. Because one of the things I did run into with a previous work, not finished and it's never going to be, was I needed to make a very neon pink for one of the colors. I don't think it will work out. And you can't do that with paint. Paint does not make neon colors. That might work, that might work, that might work. And so, unless you buy very specific ones that do it, but most of the time those are also very flashy, which are not really what I want. I just want that hue, that color, because yeah, this boils down to physics actually, and I actually know this. I took classes on it. I had actually explained how color works to grade schoolers as a project. Give me a sec here. Get some paint here. But yeah, it's because light and color have actually two main ways to do it. Basically, additive and subtractive. For instance, the colors, the paints I'm using, they are a subtractive medium. The lights on your screen, that's an additive medium. If you take all the colors on here and mix them all together, what color do you get? Black. You take all the colors on a screen, like a video game, you slide all the red, blue, green colors all the way to the max, you will get white. So in real life, those colors make black. On the screen, they make white. Because the lights are adding the colors. They are putting them all together and they make the full spectrum of white. These colors that we see in everyday life are things. How they work is they subtract the color, and the only one you see coming off it, like I've got a white light coming down onto here and reflecting into our eyes in the camera. What this color is doing is absorbing every color except for blue. Blue is the only thing that'll go out. So if you take something that absorbs only blue, something that only absorbs everything but red, something that absorbs everything except for green, you've now absorbed every bit of light, and the only thing that comes out is black. And so that's why colors are like that. And why traditional mediums can't have neon colors, because neons are a very bright white color, but it doesn't you can't have that. I have to have a negative color to do that with paint, which physically doesn't work. Well, no, it's not. That's how it works. Cause yeah, as I remember going through that physics bit back in high school, and we well, light is fascinating in some of that regards. We had color because that's how light kind of works. Give me a sec here, trying to mix up, see if this color works out. Oh, yeah, that'll work. That'll work. Cool, cool, cool. One of the other things is you can have a colored shadow. In real life, you can have a shadow that is green or red or blue by having a light of the opposing color. It's been a while. I can't remember specifically how, but yeah, you can get the colors to affect the shadow, because the shadow is what's left over between what you got. Come on, working in the little tiny square again. Sorry, got some stuff in my throat. But yeah, it's color can be fascinating when you look at it, and it's very predetermined. This color and that color, this situation and that situation will result in this particular thing. That's one of the reasons why computers are able to simulate all this stuff, because it's mathematically predictable. I've got just no space for this. Completely absolute tangent of a topic. My brother-in-law let me borrow some games. namely Outer World and Metal Gear Solid 5 Phantom Pain. I'm not sure which one came first, that or 5. It's a... yeah, it's there's all sorts of things you never know that you like learn about. Just even the most mundane things like color can be so fascinating at times. But yeah, it's for instance, if you forget my tangent for a sec. If you take a give me a sec. Here. It's not quite right, but we'll figure it out. But if you take like a green object and you shine a blue light on it, it'll have a red shadow or something like that. It's, look it up, colors and shadows, and you can see some of that stuff. It's fascinating seeing it actually work out in person. I probably am going to have too many random little color bits in the background. It's gonna look all patchworky, but it's what I got. I'm winging it, so bear with me. And it is. Yeah, they've got what? Yeah, I've got too many already. Yeah, there are some bubbles. I could work at getting the bubbles. Maybe. I'm trying to get a good composition for this one. I don't quite know where to go with it. In this part, if I don't have things like planned out, I start falling apart. But yeah, so I'll start working on the tangent. Yeah, my brother-in-law let me borrow some games, the PS4, right? And so I've been trying to play them, but unfortunately my controller doesn't work quite right. It you need to be green. You need to be different. That issue I've had in Danganronpa and like all the other games where I kept complaining about the controller being just doing whatever the hell it wants to. And like, I used to be able to fix part of it by having Steam and the settings calibrate the controller to just not do it that way. So it like calibrates it with that weird discrepancy. But the PlayStation doesn't have that, so the PlayStation would just keep scrolling my character up. The controller, it's all sorts of weird. And that's what I'm going to be doing. However, it's my weekend, and I'm not in my shop, my workshop, and I don't have a soldering iron here, so I'm going to be bringing them in next time I get into work. So I'll figure it out. Yeah, I've got a couple of controllers. This one fell in water and no longer has the shoulder buttons working, along with a couple other miscellaneous things. I think the joysticks still work. This is the one that has the problem. This is bad and makes it really, it's not impossible, but it's not fun to work with. So I'm going to try and unsolder it from there and put it onto the next one. Is my ideal goal. So yeah, I can do that, and it's all there. I did try to take it apart and like clean it out, blow out any dust or hair or things like that, and it worked for a bit. Then it went back to not working again. So I don't know what it is. Yeah, well, it's just I imagine it's one of the mechanics in the joystick or what have you. The axes get like worn out and just kind of rest in the forward position. or what have you. And the only way I know of to fix that would be to take it apart and like recalibrate it or something. But that's, or just replace the whole thing, which is what I'm going to be trying to do. Because I really don't want to have to spend $60 on a controller. That's for something so minor that I know I can fix. Alright, that works a lot better. That works better. Alright, and these two have like a faded, feathery kind of feel to them. So I'm going to try and work that into place as well. Give me a sec. You know what? I could go with this being a very long one and then getting rid of that one. Let's work with that. Because I'm not against getting rid of some of these things that I just had up there, so let's use this and frame it a little better. So it's, well, that would require me ordering and shipping and getting it here when I have an unfunctional controller that has spare parts. I can do that. Hell, that's one of the main things I do for phone repairs sometimes. But yeah, it's like mostly when I screw something up that I don't have. But you didn't hear that from me. But yeah, it's yeah, I do a lot of salvaging for phones and such, and that's the biggest reason why I don't get rid of any of the parts that people leave behind, other than batteries. Batteries are something that can just be absolutely tossed away because, well, yeah. There we are. And that works out okay. I think you might move up. Get rid of you. Put you maybe like right here. Up a little higher. Work out. You are an odd one. I don't know. But yeah, it's not a lost cause. It's just a frustration on like my day off. Gonna try and go and play some games, and the character just keeps doing one of these things. Oh shit, maybe I can try my other controller. Hey, that works out, but then the shoulder buttons don't work. Oh shit. And so I'll just wait till next time. Alright. But yeah, it'll work out. I'm not too flustered about it. It's just timing is all. Alright, so that's that. And I want to try and get the purple, violet, pink. Well, let's try. I could try that. Let's try that. Let's try that. You know what? Doing some stuff. Over there. Let's try this out, see how well this works. But yeah, oh yeah, also, especially apparently in the gaming world, apparently they're coming out with a new Rune Factory 5, and that was actually a game me and my sister played a decent amount of. We tried it out originally on the I think it was the Wii. It was the original. A bit less paint there, okay. And it was actually a pretty fun game. It's like a cross It's like if Harvest Moon had dungeon crawling into it, which was actually really neat and novel concept, and I love the style of the game. And the that's not right. That's just, that color never works out for me. It's too. But yeah, apparently they're releasing it in 2021 or something. They had a trailer for it the other day, which I happened to actually manage to get like when it was going live. I think I got it relatively close when it was released, so I'm looking forward to that. But one of the problems is that company has kind of just gone in weird directions with their games, and again, the localization team, for whatever reason, decided to change a critical and crucial gameplay mechanic for no real apparent reason. That screwed over our playthrough, which actually ruined the first game for us. Let's try, come on, I know I could get something. That's the wrong kind of pink. Maybe flute, tiniest tinge of blue. Let's see if that. No, that'll just make it brown. Try the other one. But yeah, in Rune Factory, the first one, they had a mechanic. These runes, kind of the name of the game, runes. And one of the things was they do little elemental spirits that float around and help make the plants grow better, or things over here more plentiful, what have you. And they had, what was it, grass, water, earth, and fire, I think were the 4 runes. A tree, I think was the other one, tree. Give me a sec. Hopefully this does something of value. And one of the things was they they work off each other. They eat each other or something, and you have to sit there and manage the levels of the runes and the zones. However, the North American ones decided to change functionally that the grass ones don't eat anybody else, and they just, which created a imbalance. Yeah, they are pretty cool. They can be, some of them. I can't remember the second one, but there was a maybe that was the second one. I don't know. There's currently 4 of them out. A 5th one coming along. The 4th. Give me a sec to mentally map where they are. And the first one I liked and enjoyed. It was a very comfy little game, except for the rune system that just screwed over the player. If you decide to play it with the first game, look up a guide for the runes. You'll have a much better time from it. This is not right. Not right. Give me a sec. I'm gonna try my hand at doing this, but I know it's not right. You know what? Let's try a dry brush technique. See if that'll help. No, not at all. Not at all. That is not the color we needed. How do I get that color? Damn it. But yeah, in the game, you level up everything. Crafting, blacksmithing, farming, mining, axing, jumping, walking, running, eating, cooking. I'm not kidding you. They have a walking and a jumping skill. How it works is you slowly grind up those things, and you level up, and it increases other things. And you go around, and then they have all the combat skills: swords and axes and hammers and spears and all that stuff. And you kind of just sit there in the town. And you can sit there and farm and do your stuff. You gotta go through the dungeons to progress the game, but you can talk to people there, marry people with things. That kind of game. It's got a lot of stuff in it, which is pretty cool. And if it wasn't for that one release system, that it would have been like a perfect game. How the hell do I get that pink? It's a very deep and vibrant color. I don't have that. Yeah. But it's how do I get that color? Let's try this. No, that won't work. Let's see if you do any better. No, you won't. No, you won't. Colors. Colors. Well, maybe I can just focus on doing something like that. Google will tell you. Yeah, well, I'm not going to just sit here and like Google things for next. And even if I were to Google it, I would likely need to get specific colors, which I may or may not have. I'll Google it afterwards because those are very relatively important bits to it. Alright, so I do have you. But yeah, in the Rune Factory games, I'll still spiel about them for a bit. They had the original one, Rune Factory Frontier, I think was the name of it. Then they had another one, Rune Factory Tides of Destiny. And in that one was a interesting concept, but I felt the game was a little odd. Just, it had an odd quality to it I couldn't quite place. But in that one, you are a set of two characters, a male and a female. They both exist. What happens is you choose your character, male or female, and the other one gets stuck in your head. You get like some words, some weird thing happens, and you're now stuck with a person's soul inside of you. You go out, do whatever, but they're still there and can talk and do things, and your quest is to now get them out of you and in their own body. It also involves some time travel bullshit or something. I don't quite know. Something a bit different. Anyway, in that one, you, instead of going into the town dungeon or what have you, you actually manage to gain control of this giant golem, which is where your farm is. This giant stone golem, I'm not kidding, he's like 100 foot tall. And like he's got like this big old chest, and he's got a plot of land right there that you... No, that one isn't the farm, that's the ranch. You can have like grow monsters, like the cow monsters or goblins will help you pick up farm crops and shit. And the farms are on the islands. You take this golem and you go into the ocean, and you go and literally walk across the ocean to find and pick up islands and discover the world that way. It's a neat and fascinating little concept, but a bit odd in places. Alright. So I'm gonna try and just kind of muck about with trying to just mess with some of the stuff. Not quite the little specific points, but just kind of soften up the flat color background with some odd little bits here and there. Not quite sure what to do without the violet bits. Those are very important. Might be the same problem I had before. But yeah, so that Tides Destiny ones, you could literally go around and just explore the ocean on a golem. all across the floor be kind of like Godzilla. Hell, there's even like big old Godzilla fights. You sit there and try and pull up an island, and instead some monster pops out, and so you're sitting there brawling this Godzilla sea creature thing with your remote control golem thingy, which is quite fascinating. But could have been better in some regards. Don't know how, but yeah. I prefer the first one. Mucking about, yeah, it's for me. I tend to shift gears. It's not working. It's not working. Okay, take a step back, try something else, and then come back to it. See if you can look at it a bit better. Something like that. And see where that gets you. I'm gonna take that out. There we are. Yep. There we are. And yeah, base colors are weird. They're a required step, but with it, everything looks flat and dull and not quite entirely there. But then once you start like putting in the little shadows, little bits that something works with, that's when things just start falling into place. All right. This one is odd. Let's feather it out. That's because this is kind of an empty space here that could be used for something else. So I'm going to try and block that out. One of the other things, at least working with artwork, is how the eye travels. And I learned this when I was trying to learn how to make a webcomic at one time, because I was fascinated with them at one point, and wanted to try my hand at it, but that never took off. I don't have the world building skill. I can kind of like sort of design a character, but I can't make a world. I accept that, but I can bring life to other people's worlds. That's one thing I do like trying to do. Alright, we should. A lot of blue, a lot of paint. Because one of the things, well, to continue on that little topic, is where the eye focuses on. Like, for instance, this picture here, not very well optimized. Because, like, up here, I've got a very big blank space of straight up nothing, but the character is here, and I'm not quite sure what to focus on, but other than her. And so I've got these lines to try and focus your eye. You look at a point, and it'll aim you to her. Okay. And so one of the other tricks is get areas that are unimportant, darker or less interesting, and places that are more important to be looking at, more focus given to them. And if you look at some like good comic book panel, they depending if you're manga right to left or comic books left to right, you'll see like they start a panel, you can read it, and it just kind of flows around to where it has to be, as opposed to like some really bad ones. Yeah, I'm gonna add stars as a final bit. So I'm not quite sure where all this stuff is. I don't quite know where things are going to be focused on. But yeah, I'm going to add stars here. Give me a sec. Let me save this picture. I've got a web browser up. Let me pull up you. Give me 1 sec. This is one of the pictures I'm. Shit. I want you. That's one thing I hate about some of this stuff. I'm trying to go with this kind of feel. The streaks, and as you can see in like right about this area, they've got a lot of star patchworks. I'm gonna try and treat the stars as a final touch because they do help guide the eye in certain directions, and I don't quite know what that direction is or where I might need to place them quite yet. But yes, I will be adding stars. But as you can also see in this, there's also those weird bubbles, like one right here. Maybe those are lens flares. I don't know. The lens flare is like a singular thing. It shifts like that. It's not here or there or whatever, unless those are impurities on a camera or whatnot. And technically speaking, lens flares only happen with a lens. They don't happen with your eye. If I'm remembering correctly, yeah, your eyes don't have lens flares, just cameras, because that's the reflection and refraction of light in the machine. Alright, so I wanted to touch up some of these bits. That was lucky. Yeah, if you look at this picture, just for instance, this is just some random still shot of the transformation scene. You can see in the back her twin ponytails wrap around. If you look right behind them, that's all very dark blue, but then you have her and it's a lot lighter, and the lens flares tend to focus your eye towards her a bit. It's not perfect because I think it's the middle of transformation scene and things are moving around, but also the lines are pointing towards her, like this purple one here, pointing at her. The purple one in the back, again pointing to her, and you're just focusing the attention on her. And you can see that in a lot of well-made things. And whenever you like look at something, it's like something's just like off about that, and you just can't quite place it. It might be composition, things like that, where it's like, yeah, that looks normal, but it doesn't look good. But it's just like one of those weird uncanny valley areas of things being like that. Give me a sec while I mix up some more paint here. And so it's like things like that that I try and focus and work on. It's for instance, one of the this guy here was a perfect example. Let me get the light off. There it is. I've got very dark corners, which I worked purposely, kind of giving it a bit of a tunnel vibe, and less interest in the corners and more focus on him, because when you look at him, the rest of it kind of just fades out and you just see him a little bit brighter because the background's lighter. This is by no means a perfect painting, but that was what I was going for and trying to do. And you can see it with other bits, it's just the flow of the painting or the picture or what have you. It exists. There's a lot of attention to detail in a lot of things anyway. Alright, so also what I'm going to try and do is shade out a bit more down here to give a bit more focus to her. But giving a straight up black contour on there would be a bad idea. So you try and blend it in, just get it a bit more, just kind of random. Bits. Yeah, and you can see in the background over there, the back purple one, it's got this weird kind of just meandering blue line that kind of works with it. I'm trying to replicate that best I can anyway. But my pose is different, and that one is in a different position, so I'm trying to kind of just shift things into better alignment. Alright, so let's go with here. Try and get a nicer nicer little kind of a nebulous looking shape here. It's looking alright. Let's break this off a little, give it a bit more shape right over here. A bit like that, perhaps. Maybe I can work a bit darker over here in the corner. Oop. It's very, very dark. Not quite that dark, man. And I don't want to try and go overboard with the dark aspects because Sailor Moon is a very light, bright looking character. And I'm just trying to use the dark here to emphasize the other aspects, other areas. And so this dark area should not be the focus. I don't know what it is, but I just have a weird habit of doing everything in the corners and the weird edges. Alright, so there is... Well, let's... I'll toss in the purple bits if I can. Gonna look into that later. Alright. What specifically might be cool? Everything I do is cool, man. What are you complaining about? Alright, let's see. Let's go a bit more. Oop. Bit dark, bit lighter. Bit lighter, smidge of dark. And the other thing is, like, the lines tend to be very directional. There's no, like, random bit going this way. That would break the flow of the show. Like the picture here. There is no line that goes like this. Or like this on my painting. They're all very directional. So I'm trying to keep that feel. It seems to be doing okay. And I can always come back to the background and touch it up again. That's an aspect that is not really set in stone, other than kind of like, well, hell, it's paint. It's all paint. Always has been. Not quite sure about that bit there. You know what? That's what it is. This needs to be clear, and it needs to shift over here. That's what it is. All right. See now? Oh, cool, cool. I could help with that. Right, give me just a sec. There we go. That fits better. That fits better. Fill that out a little bit better. Maybe. All right. That fits better. I like how the way that flows. Let's try. Fill that in a little bit. Yep. There we are. Sorry I'm not talking too much. I'm just kind of a bit on a roll at the moment. Alright, there. That's working out okay. That's working out okay. Bit more down here at the bottom. Don't be afraid to. I will need the hair contrasted. So let's actually give it like that, and less there. Okay, you know what? Let's shift that up. Let's shift that back up. It is the hair, and I'm winging it, so paint over that for now. And try and keep it all flowing the same way. Bit too much. And there we are. Bit more here, bit more down there. Bit more, just fill that in. Let's go a bit more like right there. Then have that one not quite be there. Nope. I want that to be brighter. There we are. Alright, that's looking pretty good, actually. That's looking decent. think I could be a couple of the purple highlights, or maybe go without if I'm unable to. This at least is a pretty good job of that. Okay. Lighter. I have to fix this up some, maybe not just quite as dark. I gotta paint here again. Touching up bits, making it a little less uniform. I think that's decent enough. Now we're gonna really clean up my brush. Yeah, there we go. And see, with a setup like this, I am by no means perfect, or no means a savant, or anything like that. But what I'm trying to do is get it to flow a bit better, and draw the attention towards more. I think the one of the terms is the action line. All the learn to draw books, all the things like that. Always talk about the flow. And flow is actually very important. You can have a very practically impressive piece, but it'd be very boring because things happening. But here's a picture as is. That should be focusing. There we are. As you can see, I'm trying to get the thing to flow in that direction. And kind of flow with her pose, because we've got the foot up here, and that's and then the handstands down here. You can have the hair curl up to that side. It's a bit more of a on the screen it goes that way. On painting it goes this way. Messes my brain the whole time. And maybe I can have the hair just both be pulled up off to that side and give it a bit more direction that way, as opposed to what I originally had if it just pulling down over here. That would kind of break up the pose a little, so keep the hair over here and then just float up that way. I think that'll be the goal, and I'll try to paint spot. I'll try to see where we go from there. That was actually pretty productive, more than I really thought we'd have today. Still don't know how to do purple. Maybe I could just fudge it? No. How do I get that color? How do I get that color, man? Alright, well, thank you for being here and sticking with me. Yeah, it's I'm gonna make more progress. I'm gonna do more. Maybe I think tomorrow I'm gonna start with her and try and fill her out a bit more. I think it's probably gonna be a more simplistic color scheme than my other ones, because those are all very complicated. She's a simplistic character, white, blue, red, yellow, primary colors, and not much subtlety in some of it. Well, I have purple paint. I've got purple, and I've got my other purple, but I need that purple. I don't have that purple. I don't know if they even have that one either. Because it's like, well, I might. I'm gonna have to look into it, because that's very specific color. Everyone can just see what it is, but I can't seem to make it. Oh, and on that subject, just for a bit before we head off, paint, like I was saying, was a subtractive element of color, of light, which is one of the reasons you can't mix things, because a lot of times well, if you think of it from like a digital aspect, you've got the red, green, blue, right? If you need red, just add more red and it'll be redder, right? Well, if I take this color, red, and I put it down there and I add more red to it, it doesn't get more red, I just have a larger volume of it. It doesn't get redder than this is the most red it will ever be. mix it with anything, and then that color gets diluted. And so in order to get like a red and let's just say the purple here, and try and get that heightened bright color, it actually goes down and makes the brown color, I guess, because they are both subtracting from each other to a point where they aren't working quite right. So I need a very saturated color. Like I went out and got like this blue, very, very bright sky baby blue. It's that kind of color, very, very bright, and as opposed to the very dark I've got right here. And I will never get any brighter or any bluer than that color there. So I'm learning things, figuring it out, but as such, I need a lot of paint. But it'll make do. It'll make do. I'll figure it out. I'll make it one way or the other. But yeah, that will be it for today. Some good progress. Forgot here, gotta fix that. Maybe I could. I did transfer this from a sketch, so there's a couple things I fixed, a couple things I broke. Either way, that'll be it for today. Have a good one, guys. See you next time.